In September 1999, BBC did a survey asking 20,000 respondents who the greatest thinker of the millennium was. Karl Marx was voted as number one, well ahead of philosophers and scientists. Marx lived in a time where Europe was rapidly changing. Boats and trains replaced horses as the primary choice for long-distance transportations, and steam-powered engines was more and more used in factories and agriculture. As machines began to dominate production, manual labor became gradually devalued, leading to the exploitation of workers, a central theme in Marx's critique of capitalism. To understand Marx's critique, it's essential to grasp his theory of historical materialism. Marx believed that human history is driven by material conditions and economic factors, rather than spirituality, religion, and abstract ideas. According to this view, the way a society produces and distributes material goods forms the base of its societal structure and influences its political and ideological system. The capitalist system itself is a product of historical material conditions. The development of capitalism, with its focus on private property and wage labor, created a distinct class structure with conflicting interests between the rich people who can offer work, the capitalists, and poor working class people who can only offer their energy for work, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. An important historical inspiration for Marx was the French Revolution of the 18th century. He hoped for a new and more intense revolution against the capitalist system, where the working class would dethrone the elites and establish a new classless society. The elites were anyone who owned either tools of production or significant property. If you place a wall in the middle of a room, you have effectively changed the environment. This is a form of self-realization. Human beings are creative creatures. It is in our nature to work on ourselves and the environment around us. Historically, most people have been conditioned to think of work as a means of survival. There is actually nothing natural about viewing work as employment or waged labor. It makes work feel forced and obligatory, something we want to run away from, like a slave running away from its master. But according to Marx, work is the source of meaning and joy, beyond just meeting basic needs. Under capitalism, work often becomes a monotonous and detached process, disconnecting us from the products we create. Think of yourself working at McDonald's, creating delicious burgers repeatedly, just to give them away to a stranger. Capitalism transforms work from an expression of creativity and fulfillment into a repetitive task, making us the product, and at the same time making us the slaves of the products we create. In essence, capitalism alienates us from our potential, reinforcing a narrow and limiting view of work as a necessary evil rather than a fulfilling endeavor. The repetitiveness and necessity of waged work turns humans into animals, focused merely on survival, since animals also work for basic survival needs like food and shelter. Marx believed that what makes humans different from other animals is our ability to engage in creative and purposeful activity. When workers are alienated from the fruits of their labor, they lose the opportunity to express this creativity and humanity through their work. Instead, the time when they are not working becomes the only time when they feel free. But in our free time, humans have to rest, make food, and reproduce, which are basic animal activities. All of this means that people start to act like animals during their free time, and during work, where humans should truly flourish and express their humanity, they are reduced to animalistic survival instincts. Much of this suffering stems from how capitalism defines value. Marx distinguished between three forms of value. Use value is the utility or practical purpose of a product. For instance, a coat keeps you warm and a car takes you places. Exchange value, on the other hand, refers to the product's market value, or how much it can be traded for in relation to other goods. A car has a higher exchange value than a coat because you could trade one luxury car for hundreds of regular coats. The key problem, according to Marx, lies in surplus value, which is the root of capitalist exploitation. In capitalism, workers are paid less than the total value of what they produce. The surplus value, the extra value generated by workers' labor, is taken by the capitalist as profit. This surplus value becomes the foundation of capitalist profit and the source of exploitation. Workers, in effect, create more value than they are compensated for. As a result, labor itself becomes a commodity, bought and sold on the market like any other product, hence the term job market. Workers, rather than owning the products of their labor, are forced to sell their labor power to the capitalist in exchange for a wage. However, this wage only reflects a fraction of the total value they create, while the capitalist takes the surplus. Like other commodities, the price of labor power, wages, is determined by the cost of basic survival, the minimum needed for the worker to buy clothes, food, and shelter in order to return to work the next day, week, or year. Through this process, labor is commodified, reducing workers to mere sellers of their ability to work. This not only alienates them from the products they produce, but also from their potential for creativity and self-realization, ultimately stripping them of their humanity. Marx's critique of capitalism remains relevant because the conditions he identified, like alienation, exploitation, and the commodification of labor, continues to shape the modern world. Whether we are working in a factory, at a fast food chain, or in a corporate office, many of us are still alienated from the products we create and from our own creative potential, whether you like Marx or not. Marx's vision for a world where workers reclaim their humanity and create a classless society challenges us to rethink the relationship between labor and life. The question remains, can we build a world where work is more than survival, where we reclaim our creativity and humanity? I agree that Marx's vision may have been radical, but perhaps it's a question worth asking in a world still driven by profit and exploitation.